Welcome to B.R. Ambedkar University. Today we are going to discuss on the topic performance appraisal. In this lesson we are going to discuss meaning of performance appraisal, features of performance appraisal and potential appraisal, objectives of performance appraisal, benefits of performance appraisal process, methods of performance appraisal, problems that we encounter in performance appraisal, and how to improvise this performance appraisal system. These are the things we are going to discuss. Performance appraisal is a systematic and objective way of evaluating both work related behavior and potential of employees. It is a formal structured system of measuring, evaluating job related behaviors and outcomes to discover reasons of performance and how to perform effectively in future so that employees, organization and societies will be benefited. It is a systematic evaluation of an individual with respect to performance on the job and individual's potential for development. The features of performance appraisal are: number 1, it is a systematic process. It is carried out periodically. The intention is not to put poor performers in a spot, then it helps employees' growth and development. Remember, it is a systematic process essentially involving 3 steps: set work standards, assess employees' performance relative to these standards, and offer feedback to the employees so that he or she can eliminate deficiencies and improve performance. The second thing is the appraisal is carried out periodically according to a definite plan. The third thing is it is not a past oriented activity. The intention is not to put poor performers in a spot. Instead, it shows employee where things have gone wrong and how to set things in order and deliver superior performance using their potential fully. The next thing is the focus of performance appraisal is on employees' growth and development. It forces managers to be coaches rather than judges. Sometimes we get a doubt in what way performance appraisal is different from potential appraisal. Performance appraisal evaluation employs past achievements and contribution against set goals and expectation, focusing on what they have done. Potential appraisal, on the other hand, it tries to assess an employee's future growth, future potential, their ability to learn new skills and their readiness for future roles and responsibilities. It essentially looks at what they could do rather than what they have already accomplished. Performance management and performance appraisal. What is the difference between these two? Performance management is a continuous strategic process for aligning employees' goals with organizational objectives, while performance appraisal is a periodic evaluation of past performance. Performance management focuses on ongoing feedback, coaching and development, while appraisal often involves formal ratings, provides a basis for decisions like compensation and promotion. Now, this is the difference between performance management and performance appraisal. Now, what are the objectives of performance appraisal? The objectives of performance appraisal is it helps or it should help us to decide the compensations of the employees who should be given promotion. It helps us to decide their promotions also. The objective of performance appraisal is we need to identify the gaps, we need to make people future ready. Therefore, the objective of performance appraisal is training and development programs we need to decide, so that our people, they become future ready employees also. Then it also helps us to give our employees a constructive feedback. Further, this performance appraisal will be helpful to employees for personal development. These are the objectives of performance appraisal. Now, the discussion will be on what are the benefits of performance appraisal. It has got two uses. From the administrative point of view, there are certain benefits. From the development point of view, there are certain benefits. From the administrative point of view, it helps to design compensation policy in the organization. It also helps to design a promotional policy in the organization. We need to have a good HR policy relating to promotion. So, performance appraisal becomes the basis for that. And the third thing is, when things go wrong, when discipline has to be taken place without any arbitrary action, we need to have a clear policy for that purpose to design a disciplinary procedure. This performance appraisal will be helpful. Suppose if someone is rude, is not behaving in the way that is intended to be behaved by the organization, we need to have a policy even regarding dismissal. When a situation arises when we need to give layoff, when we need to do downsizing, when we need to give a pink slip, we need to have a procedure for that purpose to have a proper downsizing, or I use a word, in order to have a right sizing, we will make use of performance appraisal. This is also useful from the developmental point of view. It helps to identify the strengths of the employee, and it helps to identify areas for change, not only individually but also in the organization, places where we need a slow change, a drastical change, a revolutionary change. All these things will be in a position to identify based on performance appraisal. Then we know very well that we need to train people, we need to develop people. People need to be developed. We use 4 areas: mind, body, heart and soul. In these 4 areas, training and development has to take place. So, what are the areas we need to take or we need to conduct training and development programs? That will be decided based on performance appraisal. There is a saying, even eagles, they need gentle push. So, there is a need for coaching, there is a need for mentoring, there is a need for counseling. So, for the purpose of coaching, counseling, mentoring, I think performance appraisal will be useful. Then we need to design a career plan, because every person has got an aspiration to climb the organization ladder. So, to design, to show them the career plan from the point of view of organization and also from the point of view of employees, this performance appraisal will be useful to us. Now, the question is, who conducts this performance appraisal? Performance appraisal is conducted not only by the supervisor. In several situations, performance appraisal is conducted by supervisors, peers, subordinates, self-appraisal and also outside raters. They conduct or they help us to conduct performance appraisal. Remember, there is a method, we call it 360 degrees performance appraisal, where we try to use this one extensively. Then what is to be appraised in the performance appraisal? The content to be appraised is determined based on the basis of job analysis. Usually it comprises of behaviors, objectives and traits. Behaviors include observable physical actions and movements. Objectives, they talk about measures, job related results. Traits, they talk about which are measured in terms of personal characteristics. These are the three things we try to measure in performance appraisal. Then when to appraise this performance? We need to appraise performance periodically at regular intervals. Sometimes it is done even informally. Then the process of performance appraisal. In every organization there is a department. That department is called HR department. This HR department is responsible for designing appraisal forms and also training supervisors how to appraise their employees. Remember, supervisors, they need a good amount of training while filling performance appraisal forms. Several times that is neglected. Then from that place, I think that form comes to a supervisor. Supervisor go through that one and he will fill the form. He will fill that form and he will provide feedback to the employees also. Sometimes supervisors could be wrong. Supervisors might be having a bias too. Therefore, there is a manager who goes through the application that is filled by supervisor. See, this is interdependent and ultimately the employee should be given a chance to be heard if a negative comments are passed in the performance appraisal. So, this is how the performance appraisal takes place in the organization. Now, we will discuss the performance appraisal process. What is the process of performance appraisal? This involves, number one, establishing performance standards, communicating the standards, measuring actual performance, compare the actual with the standards and discuss, take corrective action if necessary. The first one, the performance appraisal process. Steps in the performance appraisal process. The first thing is we need to establish performance standards. These performance standards are benchmarks against which performance is measured. They should relate to the desired results of each job. They must be clear to both the appraiser and the appraisee. Many times this aspect is neglected. Then establish a performance standard involves good performance goals, should speak about what is the task to should be accomplished, what will it look like when it is accomplished, when must it be completed, what are the cost considerations, what are the likely payoff to the employees. I want to share with you, there are several methods in performance appraisal. When we are following a particular method, that method should suit our organization not only from the benefit point of view and also from cost point of view. The second stage is this one, we should communicate the standards to the people. Several times this stage is often neglected. The appraiser should prepare job descriptions clearly, help the appraisee set own goals and targets, analyze results objectively, offer coaching and guidance. The appraisee should be clear about what he is doing and why he is doing. Then the third stage involves measure actual performance. Use reliable and dependable performance measures. They must be easy to use and report on critical behaviors that determine performance. These would generally include personal observation, statistical reports, oral reports and written reports. Then these may be objective or subjective. Objective measures are generally quantitative and include quality of production, degree of training needed, accidents in a given period, absenteeism, length of service. Such measures are used for evaluating lower level jobs. There are certain performance standards which are subjective too. These are based on opinions of those doing evaluation and are not verifiable by others. Generally, these are used for evaluating middle level positions. Then the next stage is compare actual performance with the standards and discuss the appraisal. It's not an easy job. There are a lot of emotional factors involved. Emotional factors to be taken into account during this process. It affects the self-esteem of the appraisee. The criteria likely to be questioned. Many times people they question the very criteria based on which we have evaluated. If the process turns out to be negative, we question. Sometimes it may lead to, I can tell you, industrial problem also. Then we need to take corrective action if necessary. Put out the fires, set the things in order, arrive at new goals for achieving superior performance. So these are several stages involved in performance appraisal process. This picture shows very clearly the entire process of performance appraisal. Now we shall focus on methods of performance appraisal. We have traditional methods, we have modern methods. People they try to classify according to their thinking, different ways it was classified. Now the traditional way of classifying is traditional methods. It involves confidential report, graphic scales, straight ranking, paired comparisons, grading system, forced distribution checklist method, critical incident method, free essay method, group appraisal, field review, nomination, work sample test. And if we have to go for modern methods, we have assessment centers, human resource accounting, behaviorally anchored rating scales, management by objectives, and 360 degrees performance appraisal. Now we shall discuss these things briefly. I think for the sake of convenience, all these methods are clubbed into these categories. Now we shall start with confidential report. This method is traditionally used in government organizations. The confidential report method of performance appraisal is traditional. It is a descriptive approach. In this one, superior evaluates an employee's strengths and weaknesses, focusing on their character and conduct, and keeps the report confidential. The second thing that we talk about, it is group appraisal. Group appraisal in performance appraisal refers to evaluating an employee's performance by gathering feedback, remember, from multiple sources including their peers, subordinates, and superiors. This method provides a more comprehensive view of an individual's strengths and weaknesses compared to traditional methods like a single supervisor's evaluation. Then we have a field review method. In this method, performance appraisal involves an external party, typically from HR or corporate, evaluating an employee's performance based on their interactions with the employee and their supervisor or superior. This method aims to reduce bias and provide a more objective assessment by drawing on feedback from various sources. Then we have nominations method. Generally, we have this nomination method for the purpose of recognizing outstanding performance, identifying potential leaders, and determining the succession plans. This method involves employees or peers nominating individuals for recognition or promotion based on their performance and contribution. Sometimes we use this method even for training purpose. Then we have work sample test. A work sample test is a performance appraisal method where candidates or employees demonstrate their skills and abilities by performing tasks directly related to the job rather than answering questions or providing hypothetical example. By providing hypothetical example, it is a practical, hands-on approach that allows for a more realistic assessment of their capabilities in a simulated work environment. Then we have two narrative methods, namely essay method and critical incident method. Under essay method, a manager writes a short essay describing an employee's performance like in confidential reports. Remember, everything depends on the skills of the manager. If the manager is highly skillful, sometimes it is a plus point, sometimes it is also a minus point. Same thing if the manager is not skillful. Then we have a critical incident method. Under critical incident method, manager keeps a written record of highly favorable and unfavorable employees' action. The drawbacks of this method: there is a variation in how managers define this critical incident, the time involved in documenting employees' action. Most employees' actions are not observed and may become different if observed. Then we have comparative methods like ranking, paid comparison and forced distribution. The comparative method of performance appraisal involves assessing employees by comparing their performance to that of their peers within a group. This method aims to identify and differentiate between high and low performers, providing a relative measure of an employee's contribution. Then under this comparative methods, we shall see three methods. First one is ranking. In this method, employees are ranked from the highest to the lowest based on their overall performance. The second method we have paid comparison. This method involves comparing each employee with every other employee within the group on specific criteria, and the employee who is deemed to be the higher performer is awarded a point. Then we are having a forced distribution system. It is called bell curve. This method forces evaluator to distribute ratings across a predetermined range. That means, when we evaluate the performance of the employee, it should form a bell curve. Then the other methods which are relating to rating methods. The category rating method of performance appraisal uses predetermined categories like outstanding, good or needs to be improvement to evaluate employees against specific criteria. It is a simplified approach where employees are placed into one of these categories based on their performance. This method is often used when a detailed numerical rating is not needed, making it a relatively easy and quick way to assess employees. Then we have a grading method. The grading method of performance appraisal involves categorizing employees into predefined performance level of grades based on their overall performance or specific traits like excellent, good, satisfactory, and sometimes we give a numerical scaling also. Then category rating method involves graphic rating scales and also checklist method. A graphic rating scale is a performance appraisal tool that presents a list of traits or behaviors relevant to a specific role. In this one, numerical or descriptive continuum will be there. Then a checklist method involves, the checklist method of performance appraisal it involves a predetermined list of job related characteristics and behaviors with the rater indicating whether employee demonstrates or possesses each one of them. Then we are having modern methods like MBO and behavioral anchored rating scales. MBO I was discussing with you. MBO, that is management by objectives in performance appraisal, involves setting specific, measurable, achievable, relevant and time bound goals for employees and managers. This approach helps align individual and organizational objectives, boost employees' engagement and improve performance. It is a process of jointly agreeing on goals, developing action plans, monitoring progress and evaluating performance. Then the other modern methods are assessment center. An assessment center is a performance appraisal method that utilizes a variety of exercises and simulations to evaluate an individual's skills and abilities in a comprehensive standard manner. Then we have human resource accounting. In this one, performance appraisal is evaluated by quantifying their value in monetary terms, considering both the cost of hiring and retaining them and the monetary contributions they make to the organization. Then we have got 360 degrees performance appraisal. The 360 degrees feedback method is a performance appraisal technique that gathers feedback from multiple sources, which I have already shown in that picture, including supervisors, peers, direct reports, and sometimes even customer about an employee's performance and behavior. Then we have 720 degrees. Remember, 720 degrees we have coined, that is all. Do not take it literally. The 720 degrees performance appraisal method extends the 360 degrees feedback approach by adding an external feedback from customers, vendors and other stakeholders in addition to internal sources like managers, peers and subordinates. Now, our focus will be on the problems that are associated with performance appraisal and how are we trying to overcome them. Now, what are the problems associated with performance appraisal? We can list out these things. Number 1, appraiser's discomfort. 2, lack of objectivity. 3rd, first impressions. 4th one, halo and horn effect. Then leniency and strictness, central tendency, stereotyping and recent effect. These things we shall discuss. The first thing all of us we need to think, are we really comfortable with performance appraisal? Many times for many people, conducting performance appraisal is often a frustrating human resource management task, because the person who is evaluating and the person who is evaluated, both the people, they are at stress. And one has to interview people who are doing this appraisal, how they are appraising, when they are appraising, how many they are appraising, when they have started and when they have finished. If you talk to them, you understand how these appraisers, they have discomfort. Then several times we have this lack of objectivity regarding performance appraisal. Then we have got first impression, and in performance appraisal that also plays a vital role, we need to overcome. Horn effect and halo effect also we need to overcome. I think if we can overcome some of these things, I think we can make performance appraisal effective. Thank you.